Well, greetings, Gran Turismo enjoyers, and I want to ask you this. What's the one car that you wanted to make? Well, what's the one car you've always dreamed of making in Gran Turismo 7? Yep, that's right. The Koenig-Specials Testarossa. But there's one problem. And you're gonna see what it is. Yeah, no turbochargers. You cannot turbo tune the Ferrari Testarossa at all. This is probably down to licensing deals and stuff. Because Ferrari is overprotective of their properties, and this could be an issue as the Koenig Testarossa is turbocharged in real life, so you can't make a decent replica that's 100% accurate. And it's the same problem with Lamborghinis as well. Most Lamborghinis and Ferraris can't be turbo-tuned aside from the Gallardo, F40, and various grouped racing cars. So, I decided that I would make a fictional Koenig car. And I took inspiration from one unlikely source, the Koenig-Specials 190TT wide body kit. So the first thing you want to do is head on over to Legendary dealership and get the 190 2.516 Evolution 2. It's in Legendary's cars dealership if you can get it. Yeah. It's not available in the Legendary dealership right now, but it'll be there once you get it. And after that, you want to head on over to GT Auto and get the engine swap for it. Yeah, this is the M159 AMG GT3 engine. Even though this car, my Headcanon, uses the 5-liter engine from the Sauber Mercedes C9. But beggars can't be choosers. And you want to add a wide body kit to it as well because, well, a lot of Koenig cars have wide body. And I want to tell you something about this. Here's a disclaimer. This car does not infringe upon any copyrights of Koenig-Specials. It is not intended to sell any merchandise or any counterfeit body kits from Koenig. It is just a fun, fictional build that I've made. Just wanted to tell you that, guys, just in case if I get the Koenig lawyers knocking down my door. Which, yeah, they don't like seeing counterfeit body kits, which I understand, and they're trying to protect their copyrights. And the next thing you want to do is, well, the style will be in the description. Yeah, you want to add Type B front splitter and the Type B rear because, well, it debadges the car itself and that's important. And you want Type A rear wing. Yeah, I already got it from a scrapped fictional tuned car. And you want to add BBS rims. Yeah, wide offset and wide rim width. And you also want to add a license plate to it. There it is. Yeah, you also want a colored Type C grille. So yeah, now we're going to go up to tuning. And there's not much you can do. I don't want to add weight reduction because this car is supposed to retain its seats. After all, it is a competitor, or Koenig's answer to Lotus Carlton. Yeah, so you want to head on over and get sports hards, and then you want to get the high RPM turbocharger, fully customizable LSD, fully customizable manual transmission to get off that 90s dog box feel. Yeah, don't buy increased body rigidity, it doesn't do anything. Yeah, and you want to have slotted racing brakes, or you can have drilled if you want, it doesn't really matter. But you also want to have fully customizable suspension and the racing clutch. And in the ultimate section, you also want to have a carbon propeller drive shaft. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't want to put any weight reduction. It also comes with racing muffler standard. Yeah, I didn't want to put any weight reduction because I want this car to feel heavy and feel understeer and retain its seats. But anyway, so I'm going to show you what the Koenig-Specials 190TT looks like. Let's go! Well, here it is. The Koenig-Specials 190TT. And the story behind this car is that after the Koenig GT8, which is HSG Automotive's build I highly recommend you to check out, had been a runaway success, because of course it was a Callaway sledgehammer beater, Koenig-Specials wanted to go after the Super Sedan market next, and Willie Koenig wanted to beat one car in particular. Yep, that's right. The Lotus Carlton, which had been making headlines, especially when it came to it being used for criminal activity. Yeah, if you haven't known already, one of the Lotus Carltons got stolen. So he set out to make a car that would be even more insane and much faster than the Lotus Carlton. And he used the Mercedes-Benz 190E Evolution 2 as the basis, and replaced its 4-cylinder engine with the engine from the Sauber C9, at least the same engine as it. Thus, the original 4-cylinder engine got replaced with a 5-liter V8. Yeah, that's the Mercedes-Benz M119. The same engine used in the Sauber C9. And it was produced for the model year 1992, since only 30 of them were made. Yeah, it is super rare, by the way. Well, it's on brand for Koenig, after all, since they make really, really rare cars. I mean, look at the Koenig Testarossa. It's rarer than the Holy Grail. And for the setup, here it is. Yeah, I find that the car wasn't as oversteery as the Tommy Kaira M70X. It was manageable. Yeah, so I used sports hard tires to give it that understeery feel. And of course, the suspension setup is as follows. Feel free to pause it if you want to copy the setup yourself. And here are the parts that you need for it. No weight reduction, carbon propeller shaft, racing clutch, racing brakes, racing brake pads, no handbrake, no rear brake balance since I didn't need it. It brakes so good anyways. High RPM turbocharger, and the fully customizable manual. Yeah, not much you could do here since it is a racing engine after all, and because it's a GR3 car, it can only go up to 789 horsepower, but that's more than enough for it to beat the Lotus Carlton and send it to the Shadow Realm. I didn't bother with the gearing setup. I left it as is. Yeah, I left the ratios as is. Again, feel free to copy this up yourself if you want to replicate one of these cars. And supposedly it came available in 4 different colors: red, black, silver, and, well, forest green. There were no white versions of it available because it was super rare to begin with. And the silver versions would have used gold decals. Well, shiny gold decals to be more precise. But anyways, let's test it out for ourselves and hand it out to our test driver, who happens to be a cartoon character from a certain Nicktoon. Let's go. Some say that she once showed up in a Koenig C62 during track days at Mid-Ohio, but all we know is she's called Bobby Fletcher. Here we go. Yeah, it's said that she has a collection of Koenig-Specials cars inside her own mansion, and she actually prefers Koenig-Specials over Hennessy. Well, it's kind of strange coming from a stock car driver, but she likes exotic European cars and always wanted a tuned version of the Testarossa. And she actually got one while she was lucky enough to get one. And as you might expect, coming from Koenig, this car has a lot of oversteer because of how powerful it is. Yeah, into the first corner, trying not to overdo it. Yeah, it is quite hard, and oh, there's oversteer. Yeah, back to what I was saying, it's quite hard to not brake late in this car, because if you go too late, well, you're kind of screwed. Yeah, she's doing pretty well, as she has had experience with Koenig-Specials cars herself. And in the next video, we're actually going to test one of her cars in her personal collection. Yeah, doing pretty well. Yeah, she is quite knowledgeable about Koenig-Specials cars. Yeah, there we go. Into the next corner. And there's another corner called the Michael Schumacher S. Yeah, she's coming into the Michael Schumacher S's right now. Absolutely crushing it with this Lotus Carlton beater. I don't mean beater as in junk cars, I mean a car that could beat the Lotus Carlton. Yeah, into that corner. Yeah, I don't know the names of all the corners, sorry about that. I have to research all the corners of this GP circuit. Yeah, into the chicane. Yeah, she is not shifting to first gear because it'll create more wheel spin. Into the final corner. And across the line! Now, let's see where this puts this 90s Mercedes Super Sedan on the leaderboard. Alrighty, here we go. Yeah, it did it in 2:15 190, which is about a little over 2 seconds faster than the Tommy Kyra M70X. Keep in mind, the Tommy Kyra M70X has a much higher PP rating and has more horsepower, but the Koenig 190TT has more grip as it has less wheel spin, and it was much more manageable to control. Yeah, she even told me that the guys at Koenig had tuned the car to her liking. Well, they didn't design it with her driving style in mind, but she found the car, well, she found that it was like the car was tailor-made for her driving style. So yeah, really cool 90s sedan. But anyways, let's give it some more testing, shall we? And no, I know I didn't actually meet her in real life. I just met her in my headcanon and I've been trying to make good storylines. But anyways, let's do the testing. So yeah, it had a much faster lap time than the Tommy Kyra M70X. Even though the M70X has a much higher performance point rating than the 190TT and has more horsepower, the 190TT just so happened to be more stable and had much less wheel spin. Yeah, you still get some wheel spin and you still get some oversteer because it's rear-wheel drive, but it was more manageable since it had 789 horsepower and wasn't near undrivable. But anyways, to prove this point, I decided to pit the Koenig let's do the full course. Yeah, I decided to pit the Koenig 190TT against the Tommy Kyra M70X. We're going to do a standing start. So we're going to see which car is the faster one. Yeah, we're going to do professional difficulty to ensure that I get a challenge. The AI is actually pretty good with the M70X. Yeah, the M70X is faster in the straights, but the Koenig-Specials 190TT is faster in the corners. just what I thought. So it doesn't matter if your car is a straight line monster, because the guys at Koenig know how to make a fast car, and it's all about the cornering at the end of the day. Yeah, keep in mind, this car is far heavier than the M70X. I added no weight reduction to it whatsoever, and it still outperforms the M70X. And again, this car takes inspiration from the 190E body kit that they sold for it. Yeah, the current gap is 2.5 seconds, but will shrink pretty soon once the M70X gets up to speed. And there you have it. Proof that straight line speed isn't everything. So, you might be wondering, what about its top speed? Well, we're going over to the special stage Route X. Man, I miss machine tests. Because machine tests would have been great here, since I could benchmark each and every one of my builds that I make. Yeah, back in the 90s, 789 horsepower would have been a lot. And this would have made headlines had Willie Koenig actually decided to go up against the Lotus Carlton in real life. Yeah, this is what it would be like if Koenig-Specials made a Super Sedan themselves. Yeah, it definitely evokes that 90s aesthetic. Yeah, it also has good traction and good braking. It handles like a dream. So yeah, I'd rank this car above the M70X since I actually had some fun driving the 190TT. Well, had some fun with the M70X, but I think the 190TT is a better performing track monster. Yeah, keep in mind, no weight reduction. Yeah, it has a similar top speed to the Koenig C62. Yeah, and I actually knew about Koenig thanks to Race Driver. And I actually grew some fondness towards the brand itself. Yeah, they had several Koenigs. not Koenig-Segs, Koenig, as in Koenig-Specials. The same guys that made the Koenig Testarossa and the Koenig F50 and the Koenig C62, and you get the idea. They'll make any fast car. Yeah, top speed is 236 miles per hour. Well, actually 237 miles per hour, so it's pretty fast, even for 90 standards. And this would have set the record for the fastest sedan in the world. Probably one of the fastest cars in the world. Now, to test it 0 to 60. I go to the clock. And we're going to do it from second gear, by the way, since it has a lot of wheel spin in first. Reset. Yeah, 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. That's real fast. Yeah, and it would have had a faster 0 to 60 than the Lotus Carlton. So yeah. This is basically what it would look like if Koenig-Specials wanted to take on the Lotus Carlton. Yeah, it's one of my better looking cars, and the link to the style is there if you want it. And it's editable just in case you want to have it in a different color. Yeah, the 4 colors are red, blue, well, dark blue, silver, and black. Yeah, again, red, dark blue, silver, and forest green. Well, I meant to say forest green, not black. Sorry about that. So red, dark blue, silver, and forest green. Yeah, that's the 4 colors that it came available in. But anyways, this is the Bandito sign off. I had a lot of fun with this build, and all I have to say now is don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell just in case you hadn't already done so. And you probably have some of you have already been subscribed to my channel by then. Catch you guys next time, and peace out!